लिखिए factors causing backwardness and stagnation of agriculture during British rule. Why agriculture was backward and stagnant during the British era or under British rule? So we have only two principal factors responsible for backwardness and stagnation of Indian agriculture under British rule. So there was two principal factors. There were two principal factors responsible for backwardness and stagnation of agriculture under British rule. The first you underline, the first and main principle was land revenue system. The land revenue system was very unique, very ideal under British rule for agriculture. Land revenue system means the collection of taxes from agriculture. The collection of taxes from agriculture, collection of revenue from agriculture for the government. So there was a unique system for land revenue, realization of revenue from agriculture. There was triangular relationship. There was triangular relationship among government, the owner of land or owner of soil, and tiller of soil. So there was three agents playing their role, working under the land revenue system in the British era. On one side we have government, on the other side we had owner of soil, that is permanent owners, and the tillers of soil. This was known as zamindari system. This was known as zamindari system. Zamindari system of land revenue. So first cause was land revenue system. It was very faulty. There was triangular relationship between government owners of soil and tillers of soil. This system was known as zamindari system of land revenue. So according to this system, the zamindars were paying a fixed sum to the government. First to the zamindars, that is owners of soil. Zamindars, whom we call owners of soil, owner of soil, were paying taxes to government, were paying taxes, or were paying fixed sum or fixed taxes to the government as land revenue. But zamindars were realizing this. Zamindars were realizing this fixed sum from tillers of soil. So in first instance, zamindars were paying taxes to the government, but they were ultimately realizing this tax from the tillers of soil. So they were charging a maximum possible sum. These zamindars were receiving or charging maximum amount to tillers of soil according to their choice. Tillers of soil according to their choice. According to their choice. According to their choice. This frequently raise the demand of land revenue and frequently eject the existing tillers with a view to enhance it. So ejecting of tillers reduce them to states of landless laborers. There was hardly any permanent interest in agriculture. It was almost ruined. So agriculture, when these tillers of soil were ruined by these zamindars, so nobody was interested to cultivate land of the zamindars due to high taxation charged by the zamindars. Or agriculture was never deserted even by the poorest of poor. This was owing to a lack of alternative means of subsistence. अब ये मजबूर हो जाते थे कि कोई और alternative उनके पास नहीं था, so they were compelled to till the land, cultivate the land. So this was the faulty system. So no effort was made to develop the land. So this was the first principal cause responsible for backwardness and stagnation in Indian agriculture. Next was forced commercialization of agriculture. ये हो गया. Forced commercialization of agriculture. Number second cause. Forced commercialization of agriculture. Forced commercialization of agriculture. Forced commercialization means the farmers were compelled to shift from one crop to another crop, from subsistence crop to commercial crops. There are two types of crops. One is subsistence crop, and the next is commercial crops. So subsistence crops are like rice, wheat, jawar, bajra, etc. And the commercial crops are those crops, for example, indigo, we have cotton, we have sugarcane, etc. So these are such crops which are marketed, which are marketable, which are sold, bought and sold in the market. This is the crop which is used by the farmers or tillers or zamindars for their subsistence need, for their day-to-day consumption, for self-consumption. So to fulfill the need of the raw material in the British industries, Britishers compelled the farmers to shift from subsistence crop to commercial crop to produce indigo, cotton, sugarcane, etc. Those crops which are used by Britishers in their industries as raw material. So we can say that the Britishers compelled the Indian farmers to shift from subsistence crops to commercial crops. So farmers were forced. So under this rule, the farmers were forced to shift from subsistence crops like rice, wheat, etc. to commercial crops. Like we can say indigo, like jute, etc. cotton, काम को पहुंचे थे We are discussing the second factor. Farmers were forced to shift from subsistence crops to commercial crops. It was because the commercial crops were used by British industries by British industries as raw material. So for example, this indigo was required by textile industry in Britain for dyeing, bleaching of the textile. इसी तरह cotton उनको जरूरत था for producing the cotton. Quite often the farmers were forced to accept advance payments even for cultivation of indigo, cotton, sugarcane. So forced commercialization exposed the subsistence farmers to uncertainties of market. So while earlier they would grow grain for their, on the other hand, this subsistence crop, on the other hand, the subsistence crops, जो subsistence crops हैं, wheat है, rice है, sugar है, ये this jawar, bajra, etc. The subsistence crops were used by farmers for self-consumption. They were forced to buy subsistence crops from the market. From market. So ultimately we can say that the British rule exploited the Indian agriculture. So finally हम ये कह सकते हैं, finally we can say that British rule ruined and exploited the Indian agriculture. So they used it as a source of revenue. They used it as a source of government revenue, and as a source of raw material for British industries. It double-sided नुकसान किया Indian agriculture को. On the one hand, they used it as a source of revenue, and on the other hand, they used it as a source of raw material for British industries. Yes. So on two fronts, they looted the Indian agriculture. So briefly, we can say that agriculture was used as a source of income for British government, and it was used as a source of raw material for British industries. Unfortunately, the revenue was never invested in agriculture. जो revenue हासिल किया जाता था वो agriculture पे government इस्तेमाल ही नहीं करता. It was spent, rather wasted, on luxurious lifestyle of जो British officers, British administrators, or it was also used by zamindars for the luxurious purpose. Consequently, on the eve of independence, agriculture sector of the economy was absolutely backward, stagnant, and non-vibrant. Ultimately, we can say the agriculture sector under British rule, it remained अब मैं मीटिंग एंड करूंगा। ये हो गया। अब ये 2 पॉइंट्स इसमें, फर्स्ट वाज लैंड रेवेन्यू सिस्टम, फॉल्टी लैंड रेवेन्यू सिस्टम एंड फोर्स्ड कमर्शलाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर। तो अब मैं इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर उठाऊंगा। 1 मिनट के लिए मैं मीटिंग एंड करूंगा। ये हो गया, ये लिख लिया आपने?
यस सर।
ये लिख लिया? 1 मिनट के बाद फिर मैं ज्वाइन करूंगा मीटिंग।
जी सर।
हाँ, इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर